name is Joeke, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to sew on a patch. And this tutorial is especially for anyone who hasn't sewn anything in their life before, so no worries, I've got you covered. So there's a few things we need. Of course we need a patch, something to sew it on. We need scissors, a needle, some thread, and if you have them, some pins. They're not necessary, but they're very handy if you have them. So let's start with the surface we're going to sew something on. So it's easier to have like a sturdy fabric, maybe a backpack or a jacket. If you have like a t-shirt or a beanie that has a lot of stretch in it, it can be difficult to sew the patch on and still maintain the shape of the fabric. So advice for the beginning to start with something more easy. And it's also nice if you have something that you can see the back of. So for example on this backpack or maybe on the edge of a jacket. That's easier than when you start like with on the shoulder, because you cannot see the back of the fabric. So that this one makes it a little bit more hard. So the other thing we need is of course a patch. And if you bought a patch on my web shop, you can see that all of my patches have like the black border. And this is to make it easy, so you can sew any of my patches on with just a black thread. If you have another kind of patch, just try to find a thread color that matches the border of the patch closest. So if you make any mistakes, you won't notice so much. So what kind of thread you need, it doesn't really matter. I always try to go for a sturdy one. You can just test it. Like if it doesn't snap, it's a little bit more sturdy, but actually any thread will do. So the other thing we need is a needle, and also most needles will do. I try to go with not a very thick one, because the thicker needle you get, the thicker the top will be, and it can make holes in your fabric. So you can just test it. Just take a patch and try if you can get the needle through. And do this on a side that doesn't matter most, so for example in the corner, and just see if the needle will go through easily. If that's the case, you've got the correct kind of needle. So the other thing we have is pins. So you don't need them necessarily, but if you have them it will make it a lot easier. Because when you have your patch, let's see, I'm going to use this one. And for example, you want to attach it here. You can use the pins to pin it down, so you don't have to worry if the placement is correct. So I'm going to show you now how we're going to sew on a patch. So first we're going to pin the patch down, and if you don't have any pins, you can also use, like if you have them, some other needles. It will work as well too. So you're just going to pin the patch on the place that you want and try to, keep the shape of the patch and the fabric. So as you can see, it's a little bit more centered like this. We'll do it again. And this is just an easy way, so once you've got your patch all pinned, you don't have to worry about it anymore. You can also, like if you have it on a jacket, try it on, see if it's neatly and even. Try to not like pin it in the main parts. It can leave small holes, mostly it's okay, but doesn't really matter how you pin it, it's just so it will keep in place. So once you've done that, you can see if you're satisfied. And be careful not to like feel the fabric with your hands now, because it will cut your hand right open. Also, if you're going to do it like on the shoulder of a jacket, make sure that you don't sew the sleeve together. It happened to me once. So the next thing we're going to do, I'm just going to move this away, is we're going to put the thread in the needle. And this takes a little bit of patience. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut a small part of the thread to make it more of a sharp point. You can also wet it a little bit. See, this is not good. Do it again. So you have a sharp point, and this will make it easier to put it into the needle. And this may take a little bit of practice, a little bit of patience. Once you've got it, you're going to want to take, like, I usually take around a meter of thread, and we're going to make sure that we work with a double thread, and I will tell you why in a minute. So we'll have a double piece of thread here, and this is so we can make a knot really easy. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the sharp point of the needle. We're going to hold it in our hands, make sure that we have two even parts, and we're going to hold the end of the threads here also, and then we're going to go around the needle like 10 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, quite firmly. And then we're going to take the whole piece of that and just slide it over the top of the needle, and as far as we can, until we have a nice knot at the end of it. It also takes a little bit of practice, but it's a really easy way to make a firm knot. So once we've done that, we're going to take our patch, and we're going to make sure that the knot is on the back of the patch. So we're just going to take a part of the patch, like on the bottom, and we're going to pull the needle through, only through the patch, like a little bit on the corner. And you can still, choose another part to pull it through. As long as your needle is halfway through, you can pull it back. Once you've pulled it all the way through, well, if you want to do it again, you have to cut the thread and start over. So you're going to want to pull it all the way through, and you see we have the edge, we have the knot now at the back of the patch. So now we're going to start sewing, and there are two different ways to sew, two different stitches I'm going to show you. So the first one, we're going to stitch really close to the patch, and we're going to pull the needle to the back of the fabric. Now we're going to want to put the needle next to it, like here, but from the back. So pull the thread firmly through, and we're going to see where the thread come through, and we're going to make a new hole next to it. And we can just view like this if it's the correct place, and as long as we don't pull the needle through all the way, we can just try again. And we're going to pull the thread all the way, and you have to make sure that if you have loops like this, that you pull both threads to get them out, like this. And we're going to repeat this. So we're going to go to the back, and this is why it makes it easier if we can see the back, especially if the first time that we're sewing anything on. And it will take a little bit of time, a little bit of patience and practice, but you will get it. So, and we're going to repeat this process. This way of sewing is best against fraying. And I'm going to show you another method as well, and it's a little bit easier to do, but this one is more sturdy and it will last a bit longer. halfway through and I'm going to show you the other kind of stitch. So we just need to be on the good side, and this stitch is easier if you have like a fabric where you can't see the back of it. I'm just going to pull in the needle, stick it through to the other side like this and pull it. So this is a faster method. You can just like, and it's easy to do on one side. Make sure that you have like both the fabric and the patch. This stitch doesn't work on stretchy fabrics that well because it kind of like, if you pull really hard, it will go like this. I'm not sure what the word in English is, but it's really, if you don't have so much patience, you can go faster like this. And you can do them as neatly as you want. So you can do them closer together. Depends on. And you can pull out the pins as you go. So once we're finished with sewing on the patch, we're going to make some knots at the back to make sure that the patch will hold. And we're going to do this. And if we're going to do this, we do need about 10 centimeters of thread. So if you're running out of thread before finishing the stitching on the patch, make sure that you have like 10 centimeters left to go and make knots at the back, and then you're going to start over the whole process with a new thread. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a small piece of fabric, and we only need the fabric of the garment or the backpack. We don't need the fabric of the patch, and we're just going to go like this, and before we pull all the thread through, we're going to pull our thread through it to make a knot. So like this, and we're going to repeat this like 3 or 4 times. It's really close by, and this way we're making sure that the patch will stay on. I always do it at the same location, I'm not sure. And once we're done, we're able to cut the thread, and we're finished. So now we're finished. We've sewn on the patch. I really hope you liked this tutorial, and if you want to see more about my art, please subscribe to my channel and have a really good day. Take care, bye!